YouTube, say hi to Twitch. Twitch, say hi to YouTube. That's another one. Round 6. Round 6. Maia Chess Open. So, here we are. This is me playing Roy Cabanas Rodriguez with the white pieces. He has white. I have black. This is round 6, right after the win I had with white in the positional drip game of the KYLO, right? So, here we go. Okay, he goes. Actually, let me click on the board. Okay. So he's like 2,000 strength, but he actually is stronger. He beat somebody that was like 2,100, beat another 20, a master or something like that, so 2,200. So the guy is underrated. He goes C4. I knew he was going to play this. And C4, I mean, like these days, I've actually been very versatile. I'm working on being more universal, working on that, which is universally aggressive, I would say right now. Like, I love my aggressive chess, but I'm like universally aggressive, which is important to be and try to act like, right? So, I can play like a lot of different openings, certain ones that I can play, excuse me, that are actually very solid that I can play aggressively. So I've been learning how to do that. So, but here I was like, I don't really want to play anything else but King's Indian because y'all know KID for life, right? So we go King's Indian, knight f6, g3, g6, bishop g2. We like blitzing out moves by a lot. By the way, the name of this one, chat, is Never Give Up. Never in your life. Never in your life give up, chat. Never give up. Okay, here we go. So, e4, this is more of a Botvinnik English type thing. d6, he goes knight g to e2. Really, from the white side, let me flip the board here. To be honest, from the black side, this is really annoying to face because white can just do the same thing every time. Now, I know what to do now, because I analyzed it like with the engine and like figured out, oh, this plan, what about this? What if he does this? What if he does that plan? Which I've actually been able to implement some of those ideas. In fact, tonight we were playing some games. Dark square weaknesses can happen if white overextends with f4, f5, and g4. You get a lot of dark squares in like a nasty way. So what I'm doing though is just developing. I play c5, right? And you want to gain some space. You want to play a little bit on the queen side. Knight c6, rook b8, a6, b5 stuff, right? Stuff like that. It's okay. But he's like blitzing out moves. I am too. It's King's Indian defense. You can do that. This is the system, or this is your moves for white, bro. You just like blitz out everything. Like from the beginning of it, again, you can almost pre-move all of this OTB. You do have to watch what black does, but you can almost pre-move this position as white. This position. Kind of like a King's Indian. You know, like they just do the same. So a6, my idea is to play b5 at some point. Be careful not playing d5 immediately. For instance, like a rook b1. You know, you try to go Banco route. You actually can lose a piece here, lose some material due to this. If you've never seen this, it's very important. d5 hits the knight. This knight is hanging. You take here. We go bishop takes a8. You lose the game. Really terrible, right? So you have to watch out for that. So of course I go rook b8 because I know this idea, and then a4. So I'm like, okay, well immediately b4 is a little loose. Now here, what do you think I'm supposed to play here, guys? What do you think is some good moves here for black? From the black side, and I like this one idea the engine came up with that I'll use more, but what do you think you should do with black? Let's get some suggestions in the chat. What do you think are some good moves here? And it's not like real wrong answers besides b5, just hanging a pawn, but what do you think you do? This one is like a strategic positional game. Quite annoying because in the King's Indian, you don't really want much of that. It's just why I'm like universal. I'm playing Dutch, I'm playing Grunfeld, I'm playing Queen's Gambit Decline, I'm playing a little bit of everything here. But after this a4 move, you have a lot of choices. Like it says 94 against e5. e5, 98 from Mike Saylor, 98. Adnan says 98 as well. Very good, great choices, guys. Great choices. I think, to be honest, knight b4 as well. Yeah, knight e8 was like a move that you should know and you should play a lot, guys. Like, be aware of this. This is the move. You're supposed to do this. It's a very strange move, but also at the same time, the idea here is you have knight c7. You want to play b5. You also can play knight e6, knight d4, which you will see sometimes in a different type of English where they go like knight f3 to e1 to knight c2 to e3. You'll see that sometimes, but here I'm kind of doing it the same way. But I can also play b5 when the knight gets to c7 and attack on this side of the board. Let's say f4 does happen. We really don't care about this. Knight c5. let's say they go f5. It looks quite scary, but you actually have nothing to worry about from the black side. After b5, I was looking at this in analysis, just trying to, you know, see what this would be about. Pawn takes, knight takes b5, and then let's say he goes g4. And this looks scary, but actually there's no real threats. After knight b to d4, right? What do you go, g5? f6 is not possible. Okay, h4, to play what? h5, right? h4 is a little bit too committal. You know, I have knight b3 in many cases. Knight b3, rook a1, knight takes c1. You have queen takes. I can go 95 here. 95, g5. Looks like the pawns are on you. But I mean, this is just hanging, queen d2, right? You know, c4. You don't have to worry about this push. And I used to worry about this push a lot. But he has to have enough pieces for that to happen, like a knight on d5 or like queen on the f file to push f6. And it takes too long for it to actually really work. And I didn't know, I mean, I knew something like this because I've studied the symmetrical English, which is, you know, 1c4, 1c5. I've studied that, where like in the symmetrical English, you will have, you know, this type of thing. But here I play something different. After d3, a6, h3, rook b8, I go e5. Sort of a Botvinnik setup, but without the pawn, well, not without the knight on e7. So after the f4 move, I'm going to take, was my idea, play stuff like knight h5 and etc. Right, that was my whole idea, was to play it in that manner. But I played e5. Right, he goes bishop e3, and then I go bishop e6 just to develop. It's very equal here, but this is not what I want. It's like quite annoyed because in the King's Indian defense, like you actually do want some action, and here I'm not getting any action, bro. This is just boring and like it's so annoying. So don't play it this way. Like I've learned, you know, like to still play it this way, you know, in the King's Indian here, you have to play it different ways, more actively. I also have some different files too as well. I'm just gonna start playing different stuff against the English because I want something more dynamic, you know, because sometimes in the King's Indian, especially if they start in this move order, they can just get you a position that's very boring. Very boring. And as a King's Indian player, yes, you can play that position, but it's not what you preferred. Not what you preferred. So bishop e6, he goes f4. I take, he takes with the knight. And I actually go back. I wanted to keep the bishop here. Yes, of course he can take, and then you know, I can let him take and then play d5 at some point. But I actually wanted to keep the bishop here. So I went with bishop d7, which was kind of weird, but I also do want to go rook e8. Maybe some queen e8, you know, maybe go knight e8, knight c7 now. I was going to kind of slow ball it myself. And then he goes rook b1. I mean, it's just boring, right? Boring. I go knight b4. Everything's like super equal. He goes queen d2. But he's just playing nothing moves, which are good. Good nothing moves. Very positional. Queen d2, I go rook e8. He goes rook f2. And immediately I'm like, wait a second.
He needs some milk.
Bruh.
What is his plan? Whoa, hold on, bro. What is the plan here for white? What is the plan now? After, you know, 16 moves here, I'm like, wait a second. Hold on, big dog. This don't feel right. Some feel kind of strange here. Even though engine says super duper equal. I didn't like this too much. Did not like this. I had some very good moves too as well after this. Engine says equal. I'm gonna show you the line that the engine says. Two kind of good, right? Yeah. This feels good for white. Feels very good. Roy kind of good. Oh, he got, yeah. No, Roy was nice, bro. Roy was nice. Like his idea here is to double the rooks, bro. It's very easy. Very simple. Hitting f7 next. I'm in trouble. I'm in some trouble. So I got to deal with this. Engine says bishop c6. I'm curious, what happens after double now? I go knight d7. Oh, and then I can go, okay, well, knight d5. Take, okay, take. Okay, take, and then go rook f8. But then bishop h6, and I guess I just chill. Maybe I could go f6 too. Yeah, so it's just like chill. That was my best. That was the best for black. And I'm playing a King's Indian, remember that, right? Like, what the heck is this? Right, because the rook stacks on the f file exactly, Zesty. So I go queen a5 with just some, I just want to play b5. I just want to do something, be active. And I knew that he could do this, and I didn't think he was going to, but he does it anyway. He just goes rook b, to f1. And I'm like, okay, it's about to get real, chat. It's about to get very, very real. f7 is a problem. So I thought for like 20 minutes here, I think. And I played this tactical move, and it's move number 1 on the engine, which is bishop c6. Bishop to c6. The idea here is if he plays something like knight d5, which he does, but I think even like a knight e2 or something, I have like, this is the problem. All right, exactly. Put the prayers up. Prayers up in the chat. Exactly. This is a problem. If I go queen d8, you can hit the button when you do it. Bishop g5, and you can resign on the spot. Bruh. This one's over. Start a new game immediately. So my idea here is knight to d7. Giving up the f7 pawn. After rook takes f7, I go knight e5 with a fork. This was all COE. Off the head, calculation over everything. Had to calculate this one. He could go rook g7, but I have king g7. Right? Then I realized there's a bishop h6 check. I can go back to king g8. Then there's maybe some d4, maybe some knight d5. Knight d5, but I have bishop to d5. And then e d5, and we have this position, and I can also come back with the queen at some point. Maybe go rook e7 to f7, try to consolidate. I was thinking about all of this, calculating. So I go bishop c6, but there's a good move which he plays, which is knight f to d5. He was pushing tight, bro. He's playing real good. Sunrise, thanks for the follow. Felipe, thank you for the follow. So knight d5 forces the issue. Yeah, this is difficult. I took with the knight, but they wanted me to take with the bishop. And after e, this is the engine line. E takes, knight h5. Rook takes, and this is the line they wanted. I'm like, what? Like, I did not like this. Check, king g8, rook f3, and then go back. And apparently, I am okay here. Like, bro, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Rook to h7 actually looks good for white. It does, Mike. It does. Like, this is gross. This is gross. So I didn't go this route. I went here. I took with the knight. Exactly. I took with the knight. So knight takes d5. He took. Now, here's what I calculated on e takes d5. On e takes d5, where I went into the think tank, I was ready to hit him right here. Rook takes e3, boy. I was ready for all this. I was ready. Because if rook takes, first off, if he takes here, I can do rook takes d3, hitting the queen with bishop d4. Believe it or not, black is only slightly better. But I saw this. I was like, bro, this is crazy. This is sick. And if queen takes, bishop d3, sorry, bishop d4, queen e7, and you have to find this move, bishop e8. And in analysis after this game, Roy was like, yeah, I saw this line. I was like, bro, this, boy, he's strong. He was definitely underrated. So bishop e8, which this line is defending f7 and also, like, you know, putting pressure here. He says something about also here after queen h6, I showed him this line where I was like, after queen here, I was looking at knight takes d3, hitting the rook with the file. Then, you know, he could go knight e4 with the idea of knight to g5. But here, I can actually take on f2 first, right? Knight g5 fails to a knight g4 check. Really sick. This is all in calculations, chat. I'm not even kidding you. And then after knight takes f2, you know, the idea obviously was knight g5. So rook takes f2. And then after rook takes f2, I can go queen e1 check. Is what I was looking at. Queen e1 in the many cases. Boom, queen e1. King h2. But it's hard for me to take this because there's a knight f6 mate. And like, this was ridiculous, bro. This was crazy. He was like, I didn't see none of this. And I was like, yeah, I understand. Bruh. I understand. But here, yeah, he was definitely underrated. Knight takes d5. Takes. He took with the c pawn. He took with the c pawn. Right. I took on a4. Bishop takes a4. He did rook takes f7. And here, I only have one move to stay in the game. That's like, it's, bro, it's still super annoying. And he found all the right moves. Like, the guy was just very underrated. I play rook f8 to trade everything off. With the idea of, okay, if he does this, which is what I was hoping for, takes, rook a1, well, I have some tricks up my sleeve here. Right, I have b5, and if b3, I can go knight takes d5, which I'm looking at all of this. Like, so sick how crazy this stuff could be. Knight takes d5, queen d2, bishop d2, bishop a1, pawn takes, and I was trying to evaluate this. And I was like, I should be good as black. Like, I should be good. I'm down a piece, but like, I have this. But then he finds, after rook f8, he goes, rook takes g7 first. So I'm like, wait, this doesn't work, right? In fact, it's the only thing that wins. It's already +4 here. King takes, check. Trade once. And then you go rook a1. Oh my goodness. Bruh. Engine says something was better with like rook takes, and queen f4. King e8, queen takes d6. And like all this crazy queen stuff. Some engine line stuff. Rook a8. Apparently, I still am doing fine here. I played c4. But wow, I actually had b5. Here, I thought I was losing already. But b5, haven't gone b3? c4, okay, takes. Knight takes d3. And somehow I'm, wow. Black is better? Chess is ridiculous. Now it says equal after thinking a little bit. That's crazy. Whoa, so I was still okay. After rook a1, that's what he played. I played c4. Very quick move. And this is why you never give up, chat. He takes the bishop, so I'm down a piece. But there's a lot of comp. Check. He goes king h2. And luckily, I didn't take this very fast. Because what I was about to do, and I sat here and took my time. I was going to play knight takes d3, but I realized after rook takes c4, I was going to go rook f2 in many cases. And then queen b2. Watch this, right? This would have been one of the sickest combos ever. Queen takes d3. After queen takes b2, he has this check first. All in calculations, right? Here. And then, chat, he can go rook c7. But he can also play queen d4. But I saw this knight e2 at some point, which is just kind of giving everything away. Like he can go knight e2, and then rook takes, and then queen f3. This is at the very least. At the very least, hitting mate and also blocking. This is what I saw. And I was like, yo, this is like I don't have anything here. I also have to defend the mate now. And he's going to trade queens. If I go rook f2, queen c3, and like, how am I? I'm like losing. Down a piece. Don't want to go this route. Yeah, rook f2, queen c3, rook c3. Right. I didn't like that. I don't like that. Yeah, definitely go to in and out and then do puzzles. You can do both. Somber, do both, bro. Both. So I was like, knight takes d3 doesn't work. So I took with the pawn. Right, it's +3 right now. He goes knight d1. I go a5. Solidify the knight. Chat, remember, this is called never give up. Because this was a grind. Knight e3. I went queen c5. No problem, Summer JP. Queen c5. Because I'm like, I just need a waiting move. Rook a3, I go b6. You know, rook c3, queen d4. Rook c4, I go queen g7 because knight g4 is coming with knight h6, so I want to be able to play h5. He goes rook c1, queen d4. It's +4 right now. Rook c4, I go queen g7. I'm like, you want to draw, bro? But then he repeats again. I'm like, of course he doesn't. Queen d4. He goes rook f1, and I'm like, I have chances. I have chances. Here we go. Thanks for the 3 months in advance. Somber JP, bringing the energy with him as we do this analysis here. Thanks for the follow, the Master 5000. So, rook f1, I have chances. I saw this because if I do rook takes immediately. If he takes with the bishop, then I can maybe take on e4. I grab a pawn. There's stuff. You got to pass pawn. You still have to deal with. You have to be accurate. If you take with the knight, which he does, I have this nasty move, knight to c3. Sorry, knight to c2. Now, this is hard for white to move. I also got these juicers over here. These not passers, but I can create one. And I already have one. So I'm already feeling better and optimistic about my chances. Then he goes queen to c3. And then I realize that Devereski is my uncle. And I remember on page 198 of the Devereski in-game manual that this should be winning for black. It should be winning. You never give up, chat. You never give up. He plays queen c3. So I take, he takes back. And then, chat, where do you go now? where do you go now? So this is where I was really in the zone. I'm like, okay, here we go. Here we go. It tells you, I mean, as strong as he is, it was just to me like, wow, like, you know, lots of in game really helps because when you get to an in game, you know, you really have to show it, and like it can help you many times. Running a pawn. You know what's funny, chat? A4 was the move. Like I was looking at A4, knight D2, A3, knight B3, A2, and I think bishop F1 or something like this. D2, bishop E2, knight E3, and like king G1. And I saw this, which it still turned out to be something like this, but I was being very clever, chat. I did something more. I did knight E1. But see, engine didn't like this as much. But my idea here is there is a cool, let me show you. So if knight D2 now, A4, knight to B3. Sorry, not knight B3. Bishop F1, for instance. Bishop F1, A3. Or in some cases, I have knight F3 check. But A3, maybe like knight B3. I think A2, king G1. What I was trying for is some type of knight check, F3, where it's a deflection, pushing, and then pushing, and having enough like this. But I go knight E1 just to see what he does. He goes knight D2. I go A4. He goes bishop F1. Right. I go A3. He goes knight to B3. And then I go D2. I go D2. Very nice. Very nice move. D2. So both the pawns are queening. And the reason why D2, this is what I was looking at. Like this knight E1 move is if he takes it, then I have knight F3 check, which is such a sick move. After knight takes, then push, and you can't stop the queen. Or if we do it this way, knight check, you don't take, knight takes, and your bishop can't get around to stop the queen, chat. That's so sick. That's so nasty. That's so nasty. So this is what I played D2. Which about the queen, bishop E2. He plays bishop E2. I go, man, I'm feeling like Magnus. Like, I'm feeling halfway like Magnus here. Because I play A2. Then I go knight D3. Like, you can't touch it. Knight B2. You know, go the other way. And then I take the pawn on C4, which the engine didn't like this at all. They just said move the king up to G7. But I was like, look, I can just take this anyway. Grab another pawn. Like, who cares? I can always walk the king up to this route. And queen at some point with knight B2 coming back again. So I go king up. Because knight B2 actually now runs into king E2. Man was playing good, bro. So I walk the king up. Knight B2 now. Because I realized that now with the king as close as this is, I can take this pawn after trading everything. He takes, I trade first, and I'm still down a piece. Bro, I'm down a piece, but look at his knights. And I'm also going to win both these pawns, and you have to deal with both of these. This was crazy. I was like, bro, that Dvoretsky, like, shout out to Uncle Dvoretsky for real, because the in-game I understood what I needed to do, and I was able to execute it very quickly. So after king takes, knight b3, I go h5, just a little weighty move. Dad pop, thanks for the prime. Appreciate that prime. Thank you so much for that. So knight a1, because you have to go back and forth. And I just, you know, milk the game. Engine says that there's ways to draw it back here, but like, this is, you know, I'm facing a human. Like, this is so hard to do. Thanks for the, let's go. Hype, we got a hype train, 1,000 bits adding on. So b5, and then I go b4. He goes h4, I take. King d3, king e5, king e3, king f5, and I just start slowly progressing. King goes over to e5. I go d4 next, knight a1, king d5, king f4, and this is over. This is over. He takes on g6, and I go b2, and he resigns, chat. Bro, this was like a 5-hour game. And the emotions in this game, at some point when I was down a piece, and I'm like, bro, I am absolutely losing right now. But then you fast forward where I win this game, and you're like, this is why you sometimes, like, it feels good to play on. Don't resign. Be resilient. You have to defend bad positions, and you are playing a human. This is why the engine sometimes clouds a lot of your judgment, or like, you know, oh, engine says, how did I blow a +6 position? Because it was complicated. Bruh. Because it was complicated. That's how you blew it, right? So it does happen. It does happen. You have to be accurate. But, you know, for future reference, we never get into this position again. But at the same time, we did end up winning the game, which is crucial, right? Crucial. So this was round 6, and then we have round 7, 8, 9 to cover too as well. for the Maia Chess Open. How much time we at? 24 minutes. Perfect. That's enough time. So yeah, real brief. Yeah, I know what to do now with this King's Indian setup. I'm supposed to move the knight around. E5 does block the bishop, but I know he's going to play F4, so I wanted to take and honestly do some other stuff. But man, what a game. What a game. Tenacious, played some bad moves. He found some nice tactics. But then I'm down a piece here. Whole piece. Game is over. Around here, it's like +4. Where is it at? No. No. Here, it's +4 right now. +4. And he loses the game. It happens. Happens, chat. Chess is it's a hard game, but never give up, chat. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel and all that good stuff, and we'll see y'all on the next video.